first time in the country's history. Well, we'll certainly be picking apart this game in much more detail in just a few moments, but taking advantage, I should say, of having both Sol Campbell as well as Robert Pires here in the studio with us, we have to start with that unbelievable result that just happened between Japan and Germany. Yet another upset. Guys, what did you make of that game?
Well, I thought it was a
same group. But having said that, let's take a closer look then at the Furia Roja, the Red Fury, the Spanish national team, to get a little bit of a better idea as to what we can expect from Luis Enrique and his men. Barcelona in La Liga this season, they've created a fair amount of chances, 36 in total. They have a really high percentage of pass accuracy, and they've been absolutely pivotal for FC Barcelona, the Catalan outfits, in their efforts in domestic competition so far this season. So Prad is actually going to tell us a little bit more about how they can translate the job they've been doing over there into the Spanish national team and how important it will be for Spain to have their engine room ticking along very nicely with those three.
Thank you, Samra. They dominate and go on to do well in this World Cup.
Well, it certainly will be very crucial indeed, especially in terms of trying to provide some service, as the Spanish national team aren't exactly really help Costa Rica, especially at the back, because they're known to be very defensive. They've kept 7 clean sheets in their last 11 games. They hardly concede more than 1 goal per game. He's going to be absolutely pivotal for them tonight.
Is the that?
Maybe he could have if he was better positioned on the line, perhaps. You talk about tiki-taka. Well, he certainly did tiki-taka their way into that second goal. But the third goal was actually from the spot kick. It was a penalty, so we could take a quick look at what happened there as well with
1,000. maybe.
So
around. Yeah.
Potentially, it could be 45 more minutes of additional pain for Costa Rica then if they don't actually find a way to get back into this game. Is there a way for them to get back into it, or is it a foregone conclusion, do you think? In some ways, they have nothing to lose because they're already 3-0 down at this point. But how do you get the ball off of Spain, who are so incredibly good at keeping possession of the ball and recovering it very quickly because they're employing such a high press as well, and they're doing it very effectively, Robert?
Yes, but it was easy. But when you play like this, you are more comfortable. So well done, Spain. Yes.
It was total domination. It was a very complete performance from Spain, so much so that they hardly gave Costa Rica a chance.
Concentration, sorry, for the next game.
I can imagine. You mentioned that at halftime as well, the fact that it would be very difficult for them to bounce back from a result like this. Obviously, it ended up turning into their worst nightmare. Well, let's take a look at some of the goals that happened in the second half, because there was still plenty more to go around. Of course, Spain were not done giving out the punishment, as it turns out. There were 4 goals, as we said, in the second half, and we can start with the first one.
Perspective.
It was an interesting choice to drop Morata from the start, because historically, at least in recent times, it's been Morata plus 10 more. Do you get the sense that Spain, is this proof rather, that Spain actually play better whenever Morata is not in the starting 11?
Group, because you win and you lost together.
Well, it certainly is a night of records for Spain. There's no question about that. We already talked about the passing record. Well, we can talk about one of the youngest players, in fact, the youngest player for Spain to step out on the pitch in a World Cup. That was Gavi. Before
we said the same, but when you score like the goal like this, it's because you have a very good ability with your foot.
Well, we certainly had plenty to choose from in terms of fabulous goals from Spain. They have left us with many options to choose from, in fact. But of course, there have been other moments and goals as well that have really made us get off the edge of our seats. And this is one of the ones in which we have chosen for our ET Money Genius Move.
ET Money.
Well, Dani Olmo's goal certainly was a work of genius, but so were many of the other goals scored tonight. In fact, you may remember in 2010 when Spain actually went on to go all the way and lift the World Cup trophy, they actually scored 8 goals in 7 games. They mostly recorded 1-0 victories the whole way through the tournament. They managed to score.
And at the front, they were clinical. Yeah.
You really can't ask for much more, you have to say. It really was a very complete performance all around. I'm sure the fans in the stadium, at least the Spanish ones, very much enjoyed that game tonight. Well, Manes is also on the ground for us, and he also got to witness and enjoy quite a lot of fanfare as well in the FIFA fan zone. I'm sure he enjoyed the goal fest as it unfolded with plenty of Spanish fans. Well, that's the kind of spirit that we love to see from the fans on the ground, no doubt about that. Well, listen, they certainly have been treated to something very special tonight, a night that will long live in the memory of many Spanish football fans. But there have been plenty there, you know.
Yeah. But for the show, yeah, it's good to watch the game like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. We love spectacle, we love goals. That's exactly why the fans seem to be really enjoying themselves on the streets of Doha. But they're also very much loving all of the action inside of the stadiums as well, which is why it's given us our Sahihe moments.
Geo Cinema and Sports 18's coverage of Sahihe Moments, brought to you by Mutual Fund Sahihe.
All right, well, let's take a look at Group E and how these teams are currently lining up against one another in terms of the points and the rank.
It's going to probably be a last World Cup for some of the players out there.
Which is why he certainly understands the pressure in terms of what is at stake here when it comes to Belgium. The good news for him is that they are in a very good run of form. They were undefeated in the qualifying path to the World Cup in Qatar. Well, here's a little bit of a closer look at what we can expect then from Belgium.
In some of the areas along the back line, but if they control the ball enough, then that doesn't really get exposed, so they should be fine.
Well, there's another very familiar face amongst the ranks. He won't be featuring on the pitch tonight, though I'm sure they wish that he probably could. Thierry Henry.
And especially for the players, so yeah, should be careful because it should be difficult against Canada tonight.
It should be difficult. We'll certainly
Yes.
see if that rings true. We should talk about one player, Eden Hazard in particular, who has had a bit of a rough time since joining Real Madrid, plenty of injuries. He's been picking up on a regular basis. Belgium will hope that those injuries are now behind him.
We're near that level, and then, you know, it'd be interesting for Belgium later on in the stages of the competition.
Well, he certainly, I'm sure, will be trying to recapture the form that he had whilst at Chelsea. When we were just looking at the numbers there, it really was a very different version of Eden Hazard. But someone I'm sure we can really expect to see a brilliant version from is Kevin De Bruyne, who is one of the most sensational football players in the world. Ballon d'Or, is that right, this year?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was he in the podium? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but I think he was. But in any case, there's no denying that he is absolutely one of the most top footballers around. Well, let's take a quick look then at their opposition then for tonight and take a look at the return of Canada, who feature for only the second time at a World Cup.
Honest, they're going to work hard. But they're on a good run. They had a good time in the qualifiers. They came top, so it was good.
And someone who might help them nick a goal is Alphonso Davies, who plays from Bayern Munich normally as a left fullback, but tonight he's playing as a left winger.
Yeah, I get, but yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with Belgium.
Yeah. I think it does leave a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth, considering that they are capable of playing much better football than we've actually seen. But credit to Canada, because they have been brave. They've been valiant. They've really taken the game to Belgium. As Saul pointed out, they had the better chances. They created 14 overall.
I think you need to complain.
Well, we'll see if they can capitalise on maybe some other opportunities.
I like to know the rules.
Well, we'll certainly see what happens in the second half if Canada can come back into it or Belgium.
Next game.
You certainly get the feeling that they are on the right path, that's for sure. And you mentioned that had they converted their chances, it could have been a very different story. Well, we should show you one moment in particular in the opening 45 minutes when they started to move.
Yeah. So
Man of the match.
As he so often is, to be quite fair.
Yes, of course.
Well, talking about some of the other opportunities that Canada had, in total they registered 21 shots. I think only.
Unfortunately, I repeat, they lost, but they have a good opportunity on the next game, of course.
Well, they have a good blueprint in front of them. They certainly seem as though they have a good leader in command as well. Well, let's take a quick look at the day 4 results.